Hudson County View live at Uncut. I'm your host, John R. Heides, and we're just going to get right to it today. We got a lot to talk about. So first of all, I just wanted to, of course, let you guys know that the early part of our program will be focused on the charges against Jersey City Ward F Councilman Robinson, of course, accused of domestic violence. There's a new video from the Light Rail Cafe, which is the same address as the home that he lives in over on Randolph Avenue. So we're going to show you a portion of that clip, as well as provide context of this incident by explaining to you what is alleged in the criminal complaint, as well as what is in the police report. So we're going to talk about that. Obviously, we want to make that the top priority today. And we're also going to talk Hoboken. One thing that will be a main topic of discussion will be Police Chief Ferrante. And as you guys know, on July 8th, there was an amended resolution approved by the the Hoboken Council that suggested that his contract should be for 2 years through 2021 to coincide with the mayor's term, instead of 3 years, which would go, of course, through 2022. And just to clarify, that's because he's been without a contract since December 31st of last year. So through an Open Public Records Act request, I was able to look at some emails and provide you guys with a clearer idea of what's been happening in the months leading up to that vote, as well as about a week or two afterwards. We'll chat about that. Also, there was a special meeting in the Mile Square City yesterday, and they did a veto override for the second time in about 6 weeks, so we certainly would like to discuss that. And we're also going to chat about a potentially, not potentially, a specifically very hateful post that came out of a Bayonne Facebook group where one assemblyman is calling for a local, county, and state investigation. So we're going to tell you about that. And also, we're going to talk about Assemblywoman Jimenez and her issue with Donald Trump regarding the U.S. Census. So all that and much more, we're going to talk Councilman Robinson in his case when we come back. First, we're going to hear a word from our sponsors.
Burns Brothers Memorials, Monuments, and Markers, 787 Tunley Avenue, Jersey City. Hudson County's only monument maker, serving all faiths and cemeteries. Design, studio, and large inventory on site. Cemetery inscriptions and custom orders welcome. Burns Brothers Memorials, Monuments, and Markers, 787 Tunley Avenue, just south of Secaucus Road. Craftsmanship that will last for all eternity. Burns Brothers, Jersey City, Albert H. Hopper, North Arlington. Visit us on the net. Consumer Carpets, 3408 Kennedy Boulevard in the Jersey City Heights, your one-stop store for residential and commercial floor treatments, carpeting, linoleum, tiles, laminates, hardwood floors, area rugs, remnants, all major brands, all in stock. Free estimates, same-day installation. Consumer Carpets, it's savings, selection, installation. Credit cards and debit cards accepted. Financing available. Consumer Carpets, price to fit your budget, installation to fit your schedule. On the net at consumercarpets.com. Consumer Carpets, Jersey City, 201-792-2712. The Jersey City Medical Center. You know it for its award-winning, life-saving ambulance service. It's also your health hub, with health and wellness locations staffed with certified professionals all through Hudson County. The Jersey City Medical Center, here to help you with your healthy, here when you need us the most. The Jersey City Medical Center. Visit us on the net to learn more. Jersey City Medical Center, Robert Wood Johnson, Barnabas Health Facility. Let's be healthy together.
Hudson County View live at Uncut, John R. Heides. So thanks for joining me again. So first of all, let's talk a little bit about this new video that has previously not been released on HCV, but we're going to show you a small portion of what was released. The clip is about 3 minutes, just a few seconds over 3 minutes, and it shows the Light Rail Cafe allegedly on the evening that Councilman Robinson had this confrontation with who his counsel, Christopher Adams, has described as an ex-girlfriend. As you could see, we wanted to make sure that the identity of the alleged victim is protected. So I know that it's not totally clear what's happening, but what we can clearly see is that, there's an argument and there does seem to be some physical touching. It appears that the woman in the video is giving him a hug and he wants no part of it. He tries to walk away and, she goes to hug him again. And you'll see that then they head for the door and it looks like they're going to leave. So, obviously you could see for yourself. You don't really need me to narrate it, but this is probably the first time you're seeing it. I've seen it a couple times just from the privacy of my home. But anyway, so the reason that this is interesting is obviously, number one, it's taken from the Light Rail Cafe. And if we look at the affidavit of probable cause, that's part of the criminal complaint against the councilman, you will see that it says Miss, and it's redacted to protect her identity. Stated on Friday, July 17, 2020, the bar was busy when Mr. Robinson approached her with a bill receipt that he wanted her to sign. She stated that it was overly busy and did not want to be bothered with a bill receipt. She stated Mr. Robinson thought she was giving him an attitude, so he started grabbing tables and flipping them, as well as breaking a bottle and throwing it on the floor. And we don't see that in the video, but again, the video is 3 minutes. We don't know when this incident started, when it ended. We don't know the complete duration. So continuing, in the process, her iPhone was also damaged, sustaining a cracked screen amount approximately $200. She further stated afterwards he ran outside and she followed him to comfort her with a hug, but he didn't want her touching him. The alleged victim, the complainant, stated that she went back inside the bar and upstairs in the hallway in front of his apartment. She stated she thought everything was calm by now and tried to give him another hug. However, he reacted aggressively, holding her by her arms and swinging her back and forth. She stated they approached the stairs and Mr. Robinson threw her down one flight of stairs. Clearly, in that video, there was no stairs, at least no obviously visible stairs. And she says that she sustained multiple bruise injuries to her legs, her right arm, her back, and a minor cut to her forehead. She stated she left the bar/residence and went to the medical center, of course, meaning the Jersey City Medical Center, to receive treatment for her injuries. She further stated Mr. Robinson was drinking all day. So, I think the biggest takeaway from the video is where, how long was the incident? What portion occurred in the residence portion, and what portion of the incident occurred in the bar. I think there's just, it's just too early, based just on this clip alone, to know exactly what happened that night. It's quite possible that things were misconstrued. It's quite possible things were blown out of proportion. But, it's also quite possible that there are just some things that have not been revealed yet. I mean, it's very early. This is just something that came out this week. Obviously, there was one published report on Sunday evening, and we followed up on Monday, and then on Tuesday, we know that Councilman Robinson turned himself in, and he was charged with criminal mischief as well as simple assault, and was transported to Hudson County Jail. He had a detention hearing, and he was allowed to go back home under his own recognizance. So those are the facts as we know them at this time. We're not exactly sure about anything as far as the timeline, other than, this was Friday night and it appeared to be after hours at the Light Rail Cafe, which of course is owned by Councilman Robinson. Probably could have figured that out since it's the same address as his home. But with that said, I guess the only thing we could add at this time is it's unclear where those stairs were located. It seemed to me that based on reading the criminal complaint, the allegation was this happened in the home portion of the building. But again, there's a lot of things, a lot of moving parts that are just not 110% clear right now. What I will also add to the conversation is that Christopher Adams has spoken to us and a few other media outlets, but we were the first to report about the councilman surrendering on Tuesday. And I just want to read you that statement from Christopher Adams. He says, "These are allegations by his former girlfriend who worked for his business, which are absolutely false. He looks forward to being vindicated and proven innocent. The entire incident she complains about is caught on video," which obviously at least was in part. "I'm not sure what her motivation is, but the facts clearly exonerate Councilman Robinson." And Mr. Adams also added, "The councilman has been fully cooperative with the police investigation." Obviously, this is one of the biggest, if not the biggest, stories in Hudson right now, so we're going to stay on top of it as we have up to this point. But for now, as of today, there are no new developments, but again, something that we're going to keep a close eye on. And with that, we're going to switch gears to Hoboken right after we take this commercial break.
Good Friend Self-Storage in North Bergen, New Jersey is a fully climate-controlled facility equipped with state-of-the-art security, packing supplies, a Refer a Friend program, and multiple loading docks convenient for commercial use. Located just off of Route 3 at 4301 Tunnelly Avenue, Route 1 and 9. Call 201-867-2444 or visit us on the web today. Good Friend Self-Storage. Let us be your good friend.
Newport, the luxury waterfront community on the Hudson River, offers the quality of life you deserve in 10 high-rise rental towers with amenities such as the on-site Newport Path subway, light rail and ferry service, Newport Town Square, 3 playgrounds, dog run, upscale restaurants, Retail giants like Sears, JCPenney, Macy's, and Target. Morton Williams Supermarket is just outside your front door. A health and fitness club, spa, skating rink, and medical facilities are also on site. NewportNJ.com. Enjoy the New York skyline from Newport Town Square. Manhattan is just one path stop away or quick ride through the Holland Tunnel. Nursery and private elementary schools all on site. 12-screen movie theater at the Newport Center Mall. Want to visit Newport? Stay at the Westin or Marriott Hotel. Go to NewportNJ.com for details. Newport has luxurious towers, great restaurants, shopping, New York skyline views, schools, playgrounds, a marina and yacht club, gym, spa, fine wine, fine living. It's incredible. It's you. NewportNJ.com. Newport, live like you want.
Hudson County View live at Uncut, Shot Our Highness. So in another exclusive from Hudson County View, we had just had a story not even an hour before this broadcast went live, where we talked about what's happening with Police Chief Kenneth Ferrante, the City Council, as well as a couple other officials in the Mile Square City. You guys recall that we reported back on July 10th about the results of the July 8th council meeting, where Second Ward Councilwoman Tiffany Fisher proposed an amended resolution, which was seconded by Fourth Ward Councilman Ruben Ramos, which would make the police chief's contract run through 2021, which would be concurrent with Mayor Ravi Bala, instead of 2022, which was the contract that was negotiated by the administration. So obviously, a lot of people believe that has some political implications. You know, the council didn't say that outright, but nevertheless, that piqued my curiosity, and I certainly wanted to see what was going on behind the scenes. So I did an Open Public Records Act request, and we got a bunch of emails back that corresponded with the chief, the city council, and the mayor, the business administrator's office, corporation counsel's office. And this was all just to see what was going on behind the scenes with negotiations. And as you guys know, Hoboken's usually a not for the faint of heart, especially politically. So that's why we got some of these emails back. And it's quite an interesting look, if I do say so myself, into this particular negotiation. So without further ado, let me tell you about some of what we found here. So there's an April 24th email from the New Jersey Association of Chiefs of Police Council, Vito Gagliardi Jr., and it is on the behalf of the chief, and he says, "It is unlawful when councilpersons seek to get involved in the day-to-day decision-making of police departments, since this authority rests exclusively with the chief of police. For example, it would violate the Bill of Rights for a councilperson to direct the chief where to assign officers or what areas to patrol. It further is unlawful for a councilperson to issue directives to subordinate officers, such as demanding an officer to allow them to use police department resources." So the only two council members CC'd on that email were Fisher and Ramos. And I just told you that that's significant because they sponsored that resolution, or at least relevant. And another common topic of conversation is a reference to an April 20th Zoom committee meeting where officials discussed COVID-19 updates and plans. Now, this is a regular thing between the Director of Health and Human Services, Leo Pellegrini. I know the acting business administrator, Jason Freeman, was on, they say, about half the time. And, it looked like a significant number of council members also participated. So anyway, with that in mind, Ferrante indicated that Ramos said on the call, which the chief was not a part of, that he should get the F off of Twitter and get to work. And apparently he didn't say just F. But according to Fisher, in another email that is more recent from July 13th, she says that this seemed to be based off of one conversation, and there may have been a little political jockeying going on behind the scenes. So with that point, she wrote that Chief Ferrante's entire response relating to the April 20th meeting seems to be based upon a conversation he had with acting business administrator Jason Freeman, one none of the council were privy to. But given our political climate, it would not surprise me if the goal was so that Chief Ferrante would be angry at the council and those on the call, in particular me, Ruben, and Assemblywoman Chaparro, of course, Annette Chaparro. So she continued that she felt that Ferrante was attacking the three of them in a subsequent email, as well as that Chief of Police Association communication was a soft cease and desist letter, which would prevent the council from communicating with the police department. So with that, for those, just a quick refresher, for those that may not recall, the contract that was proposed would give the chief a $5,000 raise in 2021 and then again in 2022. If the council agrees to it, that's according to a draft of the contract, the chief currently earns $201,075 a year. And he also pointed out several times that he didn't take his contractually guaranteed 1.5% raise in 2019, and he didn't ask for a raise in 2020 either. So with that, this all seems to come to a head on July 11th when the chief sent an email to the council, the mayor, the business administrator, and corporation council. And he says, I give you 4 options as outlined below. Approve the contract as agreed upon in January 2020, grant my contractually obligated raise from December 1st, 2019, retroactive, and I will sign the council amended contract as presented at the July 8th meeting. Collectively, decide on compensation that you feel is appropriate for me, comparative to the salaries of the other Hudson County chiefs, to make a proposal. And 4, I would say the most surprising, let me know if you want to go in a different direction, and I will certainly apply for my retirement, take my work product and reputation to another employer, public or private. So he initially said he wanted to hear an answer by this week. There was a special meeting yesterday, as you guys know. We'll talk about that next, but let's finish here. And he told me this morning that he's going to continue to do his work and perform his duties as chief until until further notice. He's waiting to see what the council agenda looks like. That's typically released on Fridays for the upcoming Wednesday, the next meeting, July 29th. And he told me today, I continue to do my work and run this department 24/7, waiting to see if my contract will be on the July 29th agenda when it gets disclosed this Friday. Now, the city spokesman, Vijay Chaudhary, told me that the mayor categorically rejects the resolution introduced by Councilwoman Fisher. And he goes on to say that we fully support a 3-year contract. I'm paraphrasing, of course. And he questioned why the council would want to limit his contract to 2021 while the fire chief's contract goes to 2023. And finally, Councilwoman Fisher told me, of course, Chief Ferrante is incredibly important to Hoboken, and I'm very appreciative of his leadership and all that he has done. But I think the timing of the mayor's statement, 2 weeks after the council's most recent vote on the contract, coincidentally, the same day that the council overrides the mayor's veto, is just an attempt at damage control. So we're going to talk about that override next, but first, just a quick word from our sponsors.
Most women who give birth recover without problems, but any woman can have complications after the birth of a baby. Learn the post-birth warning signs, such as fever, headache, chest pain, shortness of breath, increased bleeding, or thoughts of hurting yourself or someone else. Knowing these can save your life or the life of someone that you love. Trust your instincts. If you feel something is wrong, call and get evaluated by your healthcare provider. If your symptoms get worse or you do not hear back from your physician, call 911 or go to the nearest emergency room.
RWJ Barnabas Health. Let's be healthy together.
Pen & Pencil Properties, Jersey City. Shaping the workplace with state-of-the-art office spaces that address your company desires. Building residences that define your home environment. Adjacent to all modes of transportation with on-site parking available. The right address, the right lease. Call 201-521-9000 or visit online at penandpencilproperties.com. Pen & Pencil Properties, building Jersey City for everyone.
Hudson County View, live and uncut, John R. Highness. So as promised, we're going to discuss what happened at yesterday's special meeting in Hoboken. So believe it or not, this was probably the fastest meeting in Hoboken history. 13 minutes I clocked it in at, which for those of you that are used to ending at midnight, this was certainly not that. And yeah, it was a welcome change in my book. But anyway, as far as the substance of the meeting, the main reason this was called was to do a veto override on a measure that would allow bicycle parking in municipal garages for $1 a week for a year. Of course, that's $52 a year. Now, earlier in the week, you guys may have read that Mayor Ravi Bala announced that he was going to veto this because he said it was too ambiguous and it wasn't specific enough. Now, the ordinance, if you took a moment to read that, it was only about a sentence, maybe 2. And, some people, like the president of Bike Hoboken, expressed that they thought there just wasn't enough meat on the bones as well, echoing what the mayor said. Now, this special meeting, though, gave them the opportunity, they being the city council, of course, to go over the mayor's head and do an override. This is the 4th time since Bala took office that they have taken a stab at it, and it ended up being the 3rd time they were successful. It ended up passing 6-3, with council members Phil Cohen, Jim Doyle, and Emily Jabor voting no, but you need 6 votes for the override, so of course it passed. Just a few words from Phil Cohen here. He said, I suspect that people's minds are made up because we wouldn't be dragged out at 4 o'clock on a Wednesday afternoon if people didn't think they had the votes to override this. And he also spoke about that if they had spent as much time on drafting the ordinance that they did on public relations, this would have been a really great piece of local legislation, but that wasn't the case here. Clearly not very happy with how this unfolded. Nevertheless, the end result was what it was. The only person who changed their vote from the second reading, which was on July 8th, was Doyle. And his explanation was he thought Mike Hoboken was fully supportive of this. When that turned out not to be the case, he decided to change his vote. So interestingly, this was sponsored by Councilwoman Tiffany Fisher and Councilman Mike DeFusco. And so while that was vetoed, a second thing that they sponsored about having open streets along Sinatra Drive, and this specifically would be Sinatra Drive between Newark Street and 4th Street, actually passed unanimously on second reading. And it looks like the mayor is actually pretty pleased with that one. In a statement, Bala said, "I'm thrilled the City Council is supporting the city's efforts to provide additional outdoor space for residents during the COVID-19 pandemic. I'm proud that in just a few months, we've been able to successfully implement a number of initiatives, including open and slow streets, over 50 park-listed streeteries, summer streets and closed streets for dining and shopping, and now our Sinatra Drive ordinance." And another interesting point, it's unclear what exactly is going to happen with this bicycle parking measure, because the administration pointed to something that they said earlier in the week, again, when he announced the veto, which was in the absence of a more robust plan, the administration does not have the resources, nor does it intend to implement and administer this proposed fee for bicycle parking. So I'm not really sure how that's going to work out, but it looks like it's going to be fun to watch, as is the case with most Hoboken political jousting. So with that, we're going to take one more break from our sponsors, and we're going to chat about Assemblywoman Jimenez and President Donald Trump when we come back.
Rama Jewelers, located in the Lyndhurst Shopping Center at 413 Valley Brook Avenue, Lyndhurst. Come for all your jeweler needs at Rama Jewelers, where you will find a fine selection of necklaces, earrings, rings, and bracelets. Choose from one of our complete sets, our many signature items, or find the perfect engagement ring. Come on down. That's Rama Jewelers at 413 Valley Brook Ave, Lyndhurst. Call 201-939-5784 or visit us online today.
You know those times when you need to see the doctor, but you just can't get to the doctor? So where do you go? Go to the App Store, download the Telemed app from RWJ Barnabas Health, and you see the doctor right away, from any mobile device, whenever you want, wherever you are.
Quality care, no appointment necessary. The doctor is online when you download the Telemed app.
Don't you feel better already?
RWJ Barnabas Health. Let's be healthy together.
Hudson County View, live at Uncut, John Arhitis. So, as I mentioned, we're going to speak about Assemblywoman Jimenez and why she's taken umbrage with something that President Donald Trump did this week. So, she had a very fiery statement that you don't see from her every day. She specifically said that the president wants to instill fear in the Latino community and throw off the census count, following his announcement that undocumented immigrants will not be counted for congressional apportionment. So let's dig into this a little bit. So she put out a statement that said the United States Constitution requires a full count of all people living in America, not just those the president believes belongs here. The notion to exclude undocumented individuals is preposterous and a xenophobic effort to sideline again a culture and community whose significant growth and contributions has helped to redefine this nation. This is another attempt to instill fear of the Latino community and throw off the census count. First, the citizen question, now this. Without the question, how is it possible to know the status of a person's citizenship? So you guys probably heard that back on Tuesday, just a couple of days ago, Trump directed the U.S. Census Bureau not to count quote-unquote aliens who enter the country illegally when redrawing voter districts that will determine how many seats in the House of Representatives each state will have for the next decade. And straight from the White House, the president said, my administration will not support giving congressional representation to aliens who enter or remain in the country unlawfully. So the American Civil Liberties Union, along with other civic engagement groups, have already vowed to take the matter to court. And Jimenez added, continue to encourage family and friends to fill out the census without fear. We need to concentrate on getting a full, complete count more than ever now. So you guys probably remember that last week, U.S. Senator Bob Menendez was in Hoboken, and we spoke about a few different topics. One was Liberty State Park, and another was about a proposed deportation plan for international students enrolled in online-only classes this fall. Now, that plan has been scrapped, as you know, but the president at that time, Senator Menendez, accused President Trump of being a part of the most xenophobic administration that he has ever had to work with. Specifically, his quote was, "This is the most xenophobic administration I've ever dealt with." So, clearly this is a permeating belief here in Hudson County among our Latino leaders. So with that, we're not going to take any more breaks. So I'm just going to go right into another big story that happened yesterday. And this is something that was out of Bayonne with a little bit of a Jersey City, I guess I'll say, flavor to it, because it was a Jersey City activist, or actually a few activists, that brought this to the public eye, I believe. So there was a Facebook post. There's a group, Bayonne Talks Freely. There was an original Facebook group simply called Bayonne Talks, and some folks believe that it was too much censorship going on and they weren't able to have their voices heard. So this Bayonne Talks Freely group was created by a guy by the name of Tony Zanowick, and Mr. Zanowick was politically active from about the mid 2000s, I'll say, through about the mid 2010s, so about a decade in recent memory, and he ran for Congress, state assembly, and mayor. He wasn't successful at any of those endeavors, but he ran as a Republican or an independent in all those efforts, and he now operates that group that has faced some slack from time to time for really pushing the envelope. But this one went beyond pushing the envelope in pretty much anybody's estimation of what is acceptable public discourse in this day and age. I mean, a lot of people very upset, in particular Bayonne Assemblyman Nick Sciavolati. As I mentioned at the top of the program, the assemblyman called on local, county, and state law enforcement to investigate a Facebook post that he said appears to endorse lynching. As you could see in the photo that we used in the story, it's a picture of, it's not really a cartoon, but I guess it's like a cartoonized image, I guess you could call it. And it says, "Time to bring this back." It's a man hanging from a noose on a tree. And then in green, it says, "We need to start doing this again." So, very shocking and very, I think most people agreed inappropriate, but nevertheless, it made it onto the thread. The thread was eventually deleted, but it was screenshotted, and I'll give you the rundown here. So the assemblyman posted on his Facebook page, "I woke up this morning to words and images of hate posted on a private Facebook page, which I am not a member. The page supposedly represents views from my community, Bayonne, and it does not. Just because we live in the most diverse region of our country does not mean that we are protected against bigots and racists. The idea that someone thinks it's okay to post images of a man hanging from a tree and others endorse lynching sickens me. There is no place in our society for such hatred." So one of the people who publicized this was Jersey City Anti-Violence Coalition Movement Executive Director Pamela Johnson. And she wrote in her post that Black Lives Matter, you want us on a noose, be very careful. And there was over 100 comments, almost all of which expressed shock and disappointment with the image. The post was made by someone by the name of Scott Guzzi, and he later claimed in a subsequent post on the same page that he had been hacked, and he has since deleted his account, Facebook account. So Zanowick commented on Sciavolati's post and said that, he took this down as soon as he possibly could. Some people took umbrage with that. They felt that this was up for many hours. You knew what was going on, and he was in an argument with some people. But nevertheless, Sciavolati called for an investigation, and the Hudson County Prosecutor's Office confirmed that the Bayonne Police and their agency, the HCPO, are looking into it. And Mayor Jimmy Davis, Assemblywoman McKnight, and even Governor Phil Murphy weighed on this. We're running a little short, so I'm just going to tell you what the governor said in response to Assemblywoman McKnight's press release. He said, "Hate and bigotry have no home in Bayonne or anywhere in New Jersey. I stand with Assemblywoman McKnight in condemning the racist and abhorrent comments on this Facebook page that encourage reporting of any threats of violence." Zanowick has said since that the page is going to go on a temporary hiatus.